Right. Everyone, welcome. Checking to make sure that we are live on the Instagram, Facebook. We were doing YouTube live tonight. So Instagram live. You are just logging on. Please like and share. Also, can you just let me know that my sound is good by just giving me some likes, like and comment, and let me know if the sound is good. Sound isn't good. Okay. All right, so let's fix the sound. I think it may be feedback. All right. All right. Can you hear me? Sound is muffled. All right. The sound is muffled. Better? Okay. Sounds better. All right. I'm hearing that it sounds better. Please give me thumbs up, please. Please, I want to make sure that the sound is great. Thank you. Thank you. I'm hearing that it's much better. Okay. I want to make sure that our sound is great and that we don't have any issues before I bring on tonight's guest. I'm hearing a bit of feedback on my end, but as long as it's good for you all, then I think that I am fine. Okay. Let me just see if we can make sure that we're live on Instagram. All right. Welcome in, everyone. Chelsea's thumbs up. Okay. Thank you guys so much. All right. If you're coming on, I'm so excited about this discussion tonight. Please like and share live. If you are on, please like and share. I would really appreciate that tonight. I know that we are on YouTube. We are on Facebook Live. All right. Someone just text how do you get on the live. So it is Facebook Live. We are YouTube. And I am hoping I'm also live on Instagram. All right. So um, we are going to go ahead and get started. So, welcome everyone to this live virtual conversation that we are getting ready to have. I am so excited to do this live um, in this capacity and also with the guests that I have. Many of you know my guest. But so the reason that we're doing this is because on February 28th, I am hosting an influencer brunch, and the theme for this brunch is Young, Gifted, and Black. And so the entire premise or the spirit behind the event is just to bring young, gifted, and Black influencers together for the purposes of connecting, collaborating, and also celebrating because it's going to be in Black History Month. So, really wanted to do that, and I was when I was first thinking about who I would invite, my guest tonight was literally one of the first people that came to mind. And it just so happened that when we spoke last, I found out that he won't actually be able to attend the event. So I said, well, this is perfect. So it'll give me an opportunity to have this live, tell you all about the event, and also just promote this young man and what it is that he does, and talk about how it is that he influences um, the world, really. So, without further ado, I am going to now bring up my guest for this evening, none other than Richard Tubbs Smith.
Hello, everybody.
Good evening, Tubbs. All
Good
right, let me just
evening.
make sure that everything is looking good on Facebook. I'm so excited about this conversation with you, Tubbs. I'm pretty sure that I've told you before, you are definitely one of my favorite people.
Ah, you're
And
far
I'll
behind.
tell you why. First of all, I love the fact that you have always been like just authentically you. I think it's great when people can be great, have influence, do great things by just be surely by just being themselves, like not having to, attempt to be anyone else. You have been consistent. I'm pretty sure that we've known each other all of our lives. And I've always known you to be the same. Second reason, you are a consummate professional. And from
Ah,
one person who, like, it takes what I do very seriously and what I produce, my reputation, the name that I have, both in the kingdom and in the marketplace. I also admire other people who I see, make it their business to do the same. And then the third reason is that we just have so many parallels in our lives. Both of us come from musical families.
amen.
We both have grandfathers that established churches and ministries here in the South Jersey area. Both of our
Yep.
fathers were the successors to those ministries. Just so many things that overlap with the both of us. So I'm really, really glad to have you here and have this conversation, Tubbs. All right. So I know I don't have a lot of time with you. And by the way, you all must know that Tubbs is also on the West Coast. So he is
Believe it
experiencing
or
much
not.
better weather than we are at the moment. Hence the short sleeves that he has on. um, yes. So Tubbs, so I wanted to jump right in. I was, I had to, like, I was stalking your Facebook, your Instagram, I'm prepping for this conversation. And before we jump in, there's one thing I have to ask. So in your profile, you have this quote: "Old man trapped in one body." You had to tell me
Yes.
about that. I was like, okay, tell me, old man
Yeah.
trapped in a young body.
Well, there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about your old men shall dream dreams and your young men shall see visions. But ever since I can remember, I've always been a dreamer. So that was the
Mm.
first thing that stuck out. And then wherever I go in the world, somebody says, "You have an old soul." Somebody comes out of nowhere saying, "What's up, Pop Pop? What's up, Gramps? You walk like an old man." And y'all don't even know me. What are y'all talking
Right.
about? And somebody will else will come and confirm, like, yeah, he's an old man. You don't gotta worry about that. So I just accepted it, just like the nickname Tubbs. It's just something I can't fight. Just go with it.
Which is something I'll ask you about a little later as well. But yeah, I would say that I think it's what people are attempting to express is probably just a level of maturity and a settled nature that you have about yourself, which is really, really awesome. So
Thank you.
I don't want to assume that everyone that is joining us today knows who you are, Tubbs. So if you would just tell us a little bit about your childhood and how it is that you got your start in music. Now, I didn't give like a full bio because I wanted to just jump into the conversation. But Tubbs is a musician. Tubbs is a world renowned musician. So please tell us, Tubbs, a little bit again about your childhood and how you got your start in music.
Okay. Well, most musical artists and musicians that are performing or successful or established all started the same way on drums in the church.
Mm,
Pretty much every producer that you know from every genre, their father or grandfather was a pastor, and
mhm,
they just grew up in church and just were attracted to drums. So they started playing drums, and then they branched off from there to another instrument like bass or guitar,
mhm.
or in my case, the organ.
Oh,
So I
wow.
started on drums and went straight to the organ from there because my uncle uh, Robert, he started producing heavy with his
Mhm.
cousin, and my dad went from the organ to ministering, preaching, and pastoring. So when my uncle wasn't there, he would send people in to fill in, and I felt like the musicality would go down too low.
Mhm.
Thinking it's not right. I got to do
Mhm.
something about this.
Mhm.
I'm not as useful on the drums, so I
Wow.
would just go home and practice and study the craft, and then as the opportunities came, I would play in church, and uh, because the passion was there, I never stopped practicing. I never stopped listening, and I took everybody's advice
Mhm.
and did it. And then after high school, I said, I want to tour the world. I told
Wow.
everybody I came across that I want to go on tour. That's what I
Mm,
want to do. And a lot of my musician friends from church would go on tour and be in studio sessions. And I said, if I ever got the opportunity to tour with Mary Mary, I know my life would change. I know it. I just need one opportunity.
mm.
And lo and behold, the opportunity came.
Now, were you
And
playing for Mary Mary already when you said that? Like when you made
oh,
that
no,
declaration about traveling the world? Wow.
no. I was
Okay.
playing for local groups from New Jersey.
Mm,
And I found out some of my musician friends were playing for them. Uh, my friend Johnny Smith from Camden area,
mhm.
uh, he was playing for them, and I was working on his church project with him and running into him with a lot of concerts with Benita Farmer and Lonnie Smalls and John Howard and Tom Levites.
Mhm.
So once I knew that he was working with Mary Mary, I just knew deep down inside that that was a life changing opportunity.
Wow.
So the opportunity came, and they liked me, and they kept me,
Mhm.
and all the other musicians pretty much branched off or uh, lost interest. And
Wow.
I just kept going up the ranks from, the fill in to the music director. And then after all these years, they said, we really love that guy. We feel like he would be an asset to the church that we're establishing out here in Los Angeles. So they called me and said, we want you to take over the music department at the church. And I said, look at God.
Oh, okay. So I didn't even know that. So you
Yeah,
are over the music department at, is it California Worship?
exactly. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Wow. That is incredible, Tubbs. And I love the fact that your start wasn't necessarily, I mean, if I was hearing you correctly, didn't have a lot to do with like someone pushing you to do it. It was you
Right.
pretty much just being there, seeing a need, and having a heart for, um, the what was produced, the fact that it was being done well, that it was being done in excellence. Like you said, your uncle had been doing it and doing it well, and you wanted to make sure that you were kind of continuing in that. And I think that that is actually the power and the benefit of having musicians that are quote unquote homegrown. uh,
Yes.
and
Hmm.
those who are sons of a ministry, who have grown, because there is that sense of ownership and responsibility for what happens. I think that can be a little different with someone who may be hired as a musician for a church, not all the time, because if you're some are professionals such as yourself, and they're going to give it all that they have regardless. But I think
Mhm.
that that just kind of instinctual jumping in just to fill in, not because you were necessarily told to do not to do it, or because you're being paid to do it, but because you see a need, I think is really great. And I think can also it's something that we need to talk more about, because it may be something that we're losing in this move to things being very professional, even
Mhm.
in church. That there is this very much of a professional exchange, which I think has its benefits.
Mhm.
One benefit is, of course, sometimes you may get a much better product. However, there are some things that we, are losing in not just having people serve for the sake of serving. Both of us have
Right.
grown up, not only grown up in church, but we were part of the pastor's family, and we just did because
Yep.
not only were you told, it was expected. Like, I shouldn't have to tell you, just do it.
Yep.
And
Oh
there were a
yes.
variety of things that we did, and not things that we always were super, super good at, but you just did it because it needed to be done, and there was a need. Um, so all right, so you now live in LA. Kind of just going to be jumping around a little bit with my questions.
Go right ahead.
What would you say, just in culture wise, because I consider myself a real East Coast girl, right? So many people have asked about, like, oh, would you want to move and everything, and I'm just like, I could probably move, but I love the East Coast. I just love the culture of the East Coast. What would you say is like the major difference between like East Coast living and West Coast?
Oh, so many differences. Wow.
Okay,
I would say the first one that is very noticeable is the weather. It's
of course.
normally pretty warm out here, and
Mhm.
I miss the seasons. So being as
Uh,
though it's winter out there and snowing and cold, we don't get that out here.
right.
And it feels very awkward to go to Thanksgiving with shorts on and Christmas with all the winter months, and you're still dressing like it's summer,
I can
and you never get a
imagine.
break. It's just always
It's just always
get your
sunshine.
flip flops. Yeah.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Sounds really tough, especially as we're in,
Yeah,
single
yeah,
digit weather here. Okay, so the
yeah.
weather. Anything else? What about like church culture?
Um, Church culture is definitely different. I
Okay.
think out here everything is business based.
Mm,
Uh, the first thought that comes to mind is, will it make money? How will it translate to more business? And how professional is it?
mm,
Church and spirituality, that's kind of a afterthought
okay.
compared to back home on the east. Is like church and spirituality first, and then we'll worry
Wow.
about everything else later. So that was
Mm,
a real shocker for me to uh, to realize, and I feel like I was brought here to kind of bring that East Coast culture of spirituality and having class and dignity and uh,
mm,
authority in the church setting, because when it's business minded from the head all the way down,
hmm.
they're going to treat everything like it's just a gig, as
Right.
the conversation keeps coming up around, is church a business, or is it a gig, or is it something spiritual? And
Wow. So you said that that conversation keeps coming around, and who's having that conversation?
ooh, the pastors, the
Mm,
musicians, the artists, and the praise and worship leaders. I think it comes up on social media every couple years, and with the podcast era being in, it's
right.
always going to be a lot of topics and taboos and people figuring out what's important and what's new school, what should be done away with, what should be kept.
I think that's essentially just I think what we're going through in I would say the zeitgeist, right? So it's the church, the world. It's like we're going through such like a major. It's like a major, just worldwide transition.
Hmm.
And yes, so there is this question of kind of like what do we maintain from the old guard and from what's traditional and what's from back in the day, um, and what do we evolve in, for lack of a better
Mm.
word. And I think that what it is that there is not enough of the conversation of like how we actually merge the two. I think there is this. Um, it's very binary, like either or. Well, you don't have to be either or, but we do have to figure out like what this new thing looks like. And I love the fact that you said that your goal is to um, influence, right? Because I think that, that's what many of us are actually called to do. Well, we're called to do as just people of God. We are called to be influencers. We are, the Bible says that we are lights of the world. We are a city set on the hill. So
Hmm.
it is our job to influence. And so I love the fact that you are not looking at even your transition to the East Coast, not just as I mean the West Coast, just not as something to do another gig, but I guess what I'm hearing is that it's a part of purpose, is a part of your
Yes.
calling, which I think really is the foundation of any really I would say a positive or a good influencer, right? Because the reality is, God has given most of us gifts, talents. Some of us have, are extremely talented, such as yourself. But to have that humility and where you consistently understand that like everything I have is because of what God gave me. So it's really about, that responsibility is how do I, now give this back to God. I was actually having a conversation with my husband because there's sometimes that I kind of have this question of like, why do I have certain gifts, talents, and abilities? Like I kind of feel like I was telling him, I said, I know that some of the things that God give me can't just be for 9 to 5. It cannot
Mm.
cannot just solely be for a 9 to 5, and then I die. There has to be
Yeah.
more. And I think that that's really important and valuable for all of us as individuals to continue to search and to understand that, like, if you're super, super gifted in an area, if you have a high level of talent, even if it's something that you've applied yourself to, if you've been really blessed in an area, you aren't like, you can't just have that just to make a paycheck.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because
Yep.
there are a lot of different ways to eat. But when
Hmm.
God gives you something that is kind of like, extraordinary, there has to be more. And I think that, it's our responsibility, like I said, as the not just talented individuals, but also those of us who are believers and kingdom minded to kind of understand like how do we utilize those things in the marketplace, but still continue to be lights and to be positive influences in the world. All right. Stubbs, what does it mean to you to be an influencer? Like when you hear that word, what does it mean to you to be an influencer?
I would say first someone that is comfortable with themselves,
Hmm.
someone that knows themselves and is able to share their thoughts and feelings and mindsets regarding culture
Mm,
and social media and issues without force.
mm,
Uh, I think a lot of people get on Instagram with the goal and idea of I'm going to be an Instagram model or a
mhm,
social media influencer, so I got to do all these things just to get to that level, and then the checks will start rolling. And Instagram's going to pay me for everything that I want to do.
mhm.
And when you're forcing it like that, it's not coming across as a real influencer. It's just more so a gimmick, and you're trying to
Mhm.
get over on the system. So
Mm,
I think a real influencer is someone that does it naturally and they're comfortable with themselves and they're able to be themselves and cause people to follow them without them really looking forward to it. I think the people in the Bible were all influencers, but they weren't trying to be.
mm,
That's why
mm.
Jesus had to teach them, you have all this power. Let me show you how to use it.
Right, right.
And, those tools that you're using in your professions, I'm going to show you how to apply that to winning souls, influencing people to follow us.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. I wonder, how do you stay grounded? So if you all don't know, Tubbs and I, like I said, I didn't get to read his bio, but Tubbs has played, he mentioned Mary Mary, but he's played for a lot of major artists. So I know Kim Burrell, if I remember, Kiara Sheard. What are some of the others, Tubbs, that you played for? Just most people in the gospel music industry, right? I'm pretty sure that
Yeah, yeah.
you've been on BT. I think that what's the Kingdom, what's the show?
Yes, Kingdom
Kingdom
Business.
Business. Yes, Kingdom
Yes,
Business. Like you've done a
yes.
lot of things. So how do you kind of ascend to that level, which I would say that you're probably like at the top level of your career. Like I don't know that there are some things that you can probably do more, but you're at the top, right? You've done a lot. You've seen a lot. You made it. You're successful. How do you stay grounded? Like you just talked about the fact that yeah, we do live in an age where I think culture kind of pressures us to manufacture our success. Like
Mm.
yes, it has to kind of look a certain way. We have to be online. Online is such a like being online is such a struggle for me because it's just it's not a natural
Mm,
thing.
mm,
There are
mm,
some
mm.
people, so
Yeah,
it's like, but to be successful today, people saying you got to be online, you got to go live, you got to do this, and just so many other things that kind of push you sometimes to even again begin to manufacture things that don't really come natural to you. And I think it definitely works. And as you mentioned, some people get paid doing so. But I think for some of us who operate, and I think that, from what you've said, seems from like more of an inside out perspective, where we're not doing it because like we want anything necessarily externally, or I mean, that's definitely what we all want to be,
hmm.
paid for what we do. And we want,
Right.
but I guess what I'm saying is that like, that's not the only reason why we do it. And we probably
Right.
would be doing some of the things that we're doing if we weren't paid for it, because it's inside of you. How do you, in like a world where there's so many pressures to kind of operate in that way, so, to more with more of an external focus, how do you stay grounded?
Well, I would say uh, having so many years of being in church, being in Bible study,
Mm,
and having so many older mentors pour into me, I think that has given me a lot of structure and tools to utilize in this day and age.
mm,
And, life will teach you that there's always a higher level, there's always someone doing better, there's always another level that you can go to. And with this manufactured success that
mm.
social media can bring, they can flip the switch and shut you down just as quick as they lifted
Yes,
you up.
yes,
So
yes.
it's
This is
definitely important.
true. We see it happen every day.
Oh
Cancel culture
yes.
is what they call it.
Oh, oh my goodness. Woo! Yes, it's so important to have a higher
Yeah,
uh, code of ethics and morale, or
absolutely.
you'll be trapped in the system that is meant to break certain people down. And if you're
Mm,
not careful, you'll be the first one on the chopping block when you thought you were the most liked all
right.
of a sudden. And I think growing up and seeing so many people do things on a great level and accomplishing what you thought was impossible.
Mm,
That kept me hungry and wanting to study and remain at a level of teachability
love that.
because coming to your church and watching you sing and I can hear, that's exactly like the record. Oh, she did her own thing right here. Oh, the music is doing this. Oh, this is incredible. And then I went back to my church and it was the total opposite. And I'm like, oh gosh, I got to go back over there to get inspired.
Yeah.
And when I had the opportunity to bring those ideas over, I had to do it efficiently and know the culture that I'm in and be able
Mm,
to merge without offending people and it coming across as disrespectful and wrong.
mhm.
So I got a lot of practice with studying people and knowing what works and what doesn't work and how to read the audience and know
Mm,
your atmosphere and all those things that I use in simple services
right.
works in the whole industry.
Wow. That's interesting that you say that. I mean, because I'm a singer, and I definitely, as a singer, you know very well about the fact that you have to kind of, you have to know your audience. You have to be constantly kind of checking the temperature on of your audience in real time
Yep.
as you're singing, as you're trying to direct. And I guess I never really considered the fact that that like an organist would have to be doing the same. I also would venture to say that I don't know that most organists, church organists may see themselves as also having that responsibility, but I would imagine that's a very powerful and valuable skill to have, to because yes, especially it's not just church, it's Black church, you know. And you will get canceled in real time. You'll be up singing and got canceled.
Yep. Yep.
Before you sit down, like get canceled. Yeah, it teaches us to like be, quick on your feet, to know how to read your audience. And you're right, those are like skills that definitely transfer to the marketplace. It's so funny because it's sometimes it's a challenge too, because that automatic, particularly when you're real churchy like myself, is just to be churchy anytime you get a mic. Like a mic is synonymous with church. So I
Yep.
was at fun, quick little story. I was at my job and we were doing a press conference this week. And I told my husband that like naturally I get up in front of people and I'm reading the audience, I'm feeling the temperature, I'm trying to get a sense for like, do I need to bring the energy up? Do I need to, be professional? So it was one of those things where I felt like I needed to say something too, because I was opening it up, right? So and I told my husband that like psychologically I had to fight myself from saying, come on, everybody, put those hands together, because that is literally the first thing that came to mind. I'm like thinking, like in real time, like can't say that. Plan B.
Yep. Yep.
But like it's very, and I don't, and just this is for another thing for those of us, those young people that are still kind of being raised in church, and coming up, like that activity is going to serve you so well when you grow up. Those that get involved and that do things, and you're learning skills, you're learning what they call soft skills, which are not the
Mhm.
skills that anybody is going to take time to teach you once you get
Yeah.
into the marketplace, once you get into the workforce. You may have technical skill, but do you know how to read an audience? Do
Mm.
you understand nonverbal communication, right? Do you know how to have small talk? Can you open up? I mean, people are amazed. They're like, how do you do that? When I open, because I've been doing it all of my life, several
Yeah.
times a week,
Yep.
and that's speaking in front of people. So it's amazing, and I guess it's always really exciting to hear other people talk about the fact that like their experience growing up in church has served them well, and
Yeah.
allowed them to be exceptional in their areas, allowed them to stand out in their careers and in their fields, which, we don't talk enough about. There's so much that people are talking about with that may be going wrong,
Mm-hmm.
in the church, in the body of Christ, or, some of the things we see, because we know that the
Right.
church, God's church is perfect. You're just imperfect people.
Amen. Come on,
But
come on.
with all those, we need to like continue to highlight all of the wonderful things which far outweigh some of the things that we
Yes.
see on social media. But I'm not going to get on that soapbox right now. So for young musicians that are coming up, they may see where you are, and I'm pretty sure for any musician, their goal is to aspire to, to get to where you are as a musician, as a career musician. But what would you say is one of the barriers to growth and success, and one mistake that you see other musicians make? You don't have to be young necessarily, but that you see other musicians make that hinder them from being able to work like with major artists, on larger stages. Like, what are some of those barriers to grow? Because I think sometimes, and for those of you that are joining us again, I am talking to Richard Tubbs Smith. He is a consummate musician. And we're talking about just some of the things that will assist us as in being influencers. So one of the reasons why also I wanted to create this platform with my brunch is just because I think that there are a lot of times where, many of us, especially depending on, we don't have access to information a lot of times. We don't have the cheat sheets or cheat codes to be able to kind of move in certain spaces because we just don't understand how things work, right? We don't understand how we get there. And I want this brunch to be like, tell us how you got there, right? We want to know, like, how did you get there? And I think that one of the things that is important to know is, like, what are the things that you should not be doing? So getting back to my original question, what are some of the barriers to growth, right? Or some of the things that you see hinder musicians, aspiring musicians, or those that maybe want to kind of work on larger stages from walking through those doors?
Oh, easy.
Okay.
Pretty much the last question you asked about being humble. That
Mm,
is a trait that is not found a lot in musicians and singers and just people in general. So they come to churches and stages and platforms already thinking that they've arrived,
mm,
and they have all of these standards and beliefs about themselves, and their personality and ego is just as high as the artist or the
mm.
producer, sometimes higher. And they say, never call them back. And it's
Wow.
hard to grow your career when just one person says, I'm not working with them again. They were too much. So if they say that to anybody else, your reputation can be squashed. And
Wow.
you have to fight to get back on the right side of people's opinion.
Mm,
What it was something you did to them personally, or something that they heard or saw, and you can't, control people's first impression of you if they weren't in front of you. So it's always
wow.
important to have a humble spirit because that translates well. And
Can,
then
can
another
I
thing.
can I just
Oh
before you
yes,
go to the
yes.
next thing, I want to say that is not just a musician thing. That's everywhere. Because I've experienced that too. Like, if you have one person that does not like you and
Mm-hmm.
that says no
Mm-hmm.
because their experience of working with you was not positive, that can actually hinder your ability to walk through doors with other people. And sometimes, I've seen it where the even more, I would say, the sadder cases is when you're actually there and you don't know that the door is closed. Like there,
Mm.
there's one thing when they never let you in, but I've seen the case where you're in, but you're going nowhere but beyond, the seat that you have
Yeah.
right here, simply because, again, we haven't evolved in those soft skills and we don't understand the power. I think, again, that's so you said something earlier talking about following culture as opposed to, like, following a code of ethics, following the word of God,
Yeah.
biblical principles, because the world would tell you that that's the way to get ahead, right?
Yeah.
That you be pushy, that you should be cocky, your
Hmm.
confidence should be, on whatever, on 100 and all that sort of thing.
On a
And
trillion.
on a trillion, on a trillion, and then that's how you get the job. But no,
Right.
like, it's the way you get the job is very fundamental. Like, first of all, people have to like you, they have to want you around. Right?
Hello.
Yeah, you can't
Yep.
be a turnoff. I don't care how talented you are. If you're
Right.
not likable, like, that's a hindrance. All right. So I love that because that's applicable across the board to folks. Okay. What's another thing that you see that hinders people's ability to kind of walk through doors?
Uh, Only being good at one thing.
Mm.
So once that position is filled by something or someone else, they can't find a use for you. So
Wow.
with the presence of AI coming and taking over so many different facets of business and entertainment and just life in general, you have to find something that you can offer that a computer or a system can't.
Mm.
And uh, you know, making music is something that computers can do, but for right now, they can't provide an atmosphere that
Mm.
changes
That's
lives.
good. That's good.
So if you make that a skill of yours, you'll be very useful and handy and paid in these dark times. And then last one would probably be being too available and too seen. Uh,
Say more.
if you're always there, always available, always in the front, uh, no one sees the value in having you because everybody else has you.
Mm.
So,
In business, they call that scarcity.
oh, good word. Yes.
Can't get it everywhere, so I got to get it. I got to get it
Yeah.
now.
Hmm.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah. That.
That's that's another thing that I see. I think that another point that is counter to what culture says, again, because we're being told you got to be seen, you got to be on all platforms. If people don't see you, you don't keep yourself in front of people, they'll forget about you. And
Mm.
times I think you are blessing me tonight because I just got freed. Literally.
Good God Almighty.
Because, again, for me, it's a struggle because I'd rather put my energy into what I actually produce. I'm
Hmm.
not a I'm not an online influencer. So for people who, like, what they do is online influencing, then yes, all your efforts, all your energies, I get it. But for those of us who, like, this is more like a secondary thing, or an ancillary thing in our minds, it's such a struggle. But but culture kind of, again, there's that pressure because you're being told that it has to happen in a reverse. So it's refreshing to actually hear that, no, like, if you just kind of focus on doing what you do, honing your craft, that
Yes.
the opportunities will come. The Bible says that your
Yes.
gift will make room for you, that you don't always have to try to create your own way, that your gift alone will open doors. And I mean,
Yes.
I'm a testimony of that. um 110%, because my life, I have a husband, I have children, like I have other priorities. My husband is a pastor, so there are so many other things that come before me being able to kind of be at every event, be online all the time. But I'm very clear about what my priorities are. So it's like a lot of times I feel like, well, I'll make the sacrifice in not being as visible and just pray, that my time will come eventually.
Yeah.
Because I just truly believe that it will. I really do. I feel like I
Yeah.
believe that, that's just a way. That's universal laws, that you reap what you sow, and it's also the way God works. All right, this is good, Tubbs. I got a
God be
couple more
praised.
questions for you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so is there a difference between being in the gospel music industry as a musician, in a career, as a career musician, and being in the secular industry?
I would say it depends on your walk with Christ and your moral code. Uh, Business wise, there's no difference.
Okay.
The price point will be different because the gospel uh, financial status is
Mm-hmm,
much lower than
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
R&B, pop, rock, country. They have a lot bigger budgets and backing and
Mm-hmm.
crowd, so they have so much more financial power. But as far as the workflow, some people say you have to be more talented to be a gospel musician compared to an R&B or rap musician because
Really? Why is that?
oh,
I mean, I know,
well
but tell us why. We talked about it earlier, but go ahead, tell us why, Tubbs.
yeah, well, for all those that are asking, rap music is, basically the beat doing all the work, and you're
Right.
playing two or three notes here and there, and the computer's doing all the work.
Mm-hmm,
Uh,
mm-hmm.
Gospel, it's more so about the atmosphere and, keeping the singer comfortable and being able to shift because, you know, the environment is calling for something different and
Mm-hmm.
something can go wrong and the singer needs assistance in shifting the schedule and the set list. So you have to know how to accommodate and keep so many things comfortable by yourself without the assistance of a computer. And
Right.
the music itself is so much more involved compared
Mm-hmm.
to.
So I guess what I'm hearing is that you have to be more talented, even more talented, in a sense,
Yeah,
because of the fact that, like, that raw talent, because there's
yeah,
not that much that you're depending on, or
yeah.
that you have, that you can depend on,
Right,
uh,
right.
to make it happen. It's just you and the music. And I'll also add this. I think that um, church audiences, even just for most churches, they want to hear something good. Like, you have to actually be good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
Hmm.
it's, so it's I mean, there have been settings, and I'm a, thank you. I've been asked a few times to, like, stand in for my mom. Like, they invited my mother, and if for those of you who know my mother, she's a phenomenal singer.
Very
And
phenomenal.
they
Yes.
order my mom, and they want to, like, send me in. I'm just like, no, no way, there's no way. No, these people ordered Patricia Kenny. If I
Yeah.
stand up, they'll be like, well, that's not what we ordered. So I think it's also just, in terms of the expectation, there's a higher level of expectation for you to actually produce and be good, which I love, in a sense, as a singer and as a musician, because it helps you to make sure that you can't be lazy. You kind of
Yeah.
have to be on your, on top of your game at all times, making sure you can flow.
Yeah.
Either that, or make sure you just have a really good musician backing you, like Tubbs, like that Tubbs is Fill it in for where you might be cracking and you don't reach the notes. Take it away, Tubbs.
Oh
That's a
man.
smart singer. You gotta go. Like, okay, let them help you out tonight.
Oh
Okay,
yes, but there's also the
so
spiritual aspect.
yes, go ahead.
Yes, I
Oh, the
think
spiritual aspect.
because the prince of the air is the
Yeah.
opposite of the message of gospel. So
Mm.
he's going to fight everyone in the
Absolutely.
gospel industry from getting that message across. So you're going to have to, be on guard naturally and spiritually compared to someone singing about, weed or sex or different types of worldly practices. The devil's
Right.
not going to fight against that because he wants that message getting across.
I love that. All right, I got 2 more questions because we only have like 8 minutes. Thank you, because I told Tubbs that we were going to be like 15 minutes, but this is so good, and I just want to make sure that we're getting everything in. So before I ask like my final 2 questions, I do want to mention that Tubbs does have music that he released. So Tubbs released a single. Was it last year? He released a single
Yes.
last year. It is entitled Pieces of Me. And let me see. I think what I'll do is we'll close out with, I think I'll figure out the technology on being able to close out with it. But it's phenomenal music. I think so. When I was listening to Pieces of Me, Tubbs, I literally was thinking about Richard Smallwood. It reminded me of just like I think I also was just fresh off of watching his funeral as well, and just the beautiful music that he produced, and like that music that is created for musical people.
Yeah.
Like there's some music that like musicians appreciate because it's like, wow, that's kind of how I felt when I was listening to Pieces of Me. So amazing, incredible music. And I
Thank you so
encourage
much.
you all, is there some place that we can purchase that, or and where's it available?
Yes, it is available on iTunes for purchase, so you can
Okay.
listen whenever you want. It is available for streaming on Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, all of those places. It is also on YouTube, and I will have hard copies soon. I just have to finish the rest of the project.
Awesome. I can't wait. I'm definitely a music connoisseur. I love like just listening to all types of music, but like, yeah, the musicality was like there. So I loved it.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
So I think I talked earlier about the fact that you have mastered a level of authenticity in how you present yourself, and I just want to say, just as your big sis, that we're proud of you.
Thank you
And
so much.
you came to mind not just because like I said, you're one of my favorite people, and I know you, but it is because of your real life influence that I know that you have, that you probably don't even realize that you have, and with people that you may never know. And that is really how all of us should live our lives. We should live our lives just expecting that people are watching,
Hmm.
and that you are influencing. And I love the fact that you are influencing the world for the better. And I love the fact that you that you have such a good name and reputation even as a young man, in this world and in the industry. So you're to be commended for that. All right,
Oh,
my
thank you
final
so
question.
much.
This is a burning question that I'm pretty sure all of us want to know. I want to know, how did you get the nickname Tubbs?
Oh man, I thought this question was done away with, but I was
Nope, I told you I was coming
hosting.
back to it.
I was hosting my music seminar here last month,
Uh-huh.
and the pastor slash music producer Warren Campbell said, "Before we move on, I just want to know where did Tubbs come from?"
We all want to know, where did Tubbs come from? I mean, I've known you all of my life, and
Oh
I have
man.
no idea where the nickname came from. Tell us, how'd you get the
Well,
nickname Tubbs?
It came from my parents enjoying television,
Mhm.
back in the 80s. And their favorite TV show was Miami Vice.
Okay.
And one of the main characters on the show was Ricardo Tubbs. And they felt like
Oh.
I would possess the character of Ricardo Tubbs in life. So they said, let's give him the nickname Tubbs.
That's
And
cool. So I don't know. I remember Miami Vice, but like the character. Tell us about the character.
Philip Michael Thomas was the character's real name, but on the
Okay.
show it was Ricardo Tubbs, and he was like a cool guy, laid
Okay.
back,
Okay.
comical, kind of smooth, but never too much.
You just
So
described yourself. You literally described yourself. Your parents are spot
I
on.
never thought of myself that
Your
way.
parents were spot on. I love
Oh
that.
man.
Okay,
Mm-mm-mm.
so now we know something more about you. So, Tubbs, I'm so glad that you were able to jump on this live. I'm glad that you answered the call that I, maybe did. Maybe was it earlier this week that I asked you to do? It was a few days ago. That's what happens when you're close. No,
Oh
I really
yes.
appreciate it. Like, I feel honored that you're going to jump on. So, you know how when you ask someone a question and there's like the dots, like I just, I'm like, oh, Tubbs gonna say no. But I really need him to do it. Do it, Lord, do it.
Oh yes. So honored.
But I'm honored that you came on. Of course I'm sad that you won't be able to attend the brunch, but I think this was like even better.
Oh
So we're able to talk
yes.
to you, get to know you, get to know some things about you a little better, and also have you talk about the influence that you have. So thank you so much, Tubbs. All right, so I think that
My
I
pleasure.
might be able to, while I'm pulling up pieces of me, why don't you tell us how people can connect with you online on social media?
Yes, on Facebook, I am Richard Tubb Smith. Um, oh
Yes.
yeah, that's me on Instagram. I am Richard Tubbs. On Twitter, I am Tubbs Music, and I just got on TikTok just to promote the song and the upcoming ones. Uh, I believe it's Richard Tubbs
Okay.
on TikTok. Yeah.
I love
So
that. I love that.
feel free to send me messages,
Yep.
tag me in events, and I'll respond every chance I get.
Fantastic. So we're closing to Pieces of Me. This is a single just released last year by Richard Tubbs Smith. I heard you. We still have some availability. So if you want to join me for my influencer brunch and being able to connect and hear the stories behind more influencers, young, gifted, and Black influencers, Richard Tubbs Smith, join us. The link is in the comments for you. Again, I think all right, and hopefully you can bring us some sunshine.
Yeah.
It's really, really cold here and it's snowing.
Oh, I hope I get to experience the snow next time I'm in town. 'Cause it's way too
Awesome.
hot here. Oh yeah.
That's lovely for you. I love that feeling. All right, everyone. Have a very good evening. Thank you for being with us. God bless.